In a way, architecture is the art and science of making sure that our cities and buildings fit with the way we want to live our lives. When you're doing something for Coconut Grove, it's very much a question of creating a very leisurely and relaxed relationship between what's inside and what's outside, also between the apartments and the view, and between the buildings and the landscape around them. We really turn the criteria into the driving force of our design. So we don't come up with some kind of preconceived idea and then we try to squeeze it into the world. We really try to, in each and every case, to analyze what is the biggest problem here, what's the biggest potential. And then we use those criteria to inform our design decisions. So as a result, our buildings end up looking different purely because they perform different. And I think in many ways what we're doing at Coconut Grove is taking the typical typology of the Miami condo with the really generous terraces, the sort of gorgeous panoramic views, and is using that criteria not to just sort of keep repeating that mold, but to sort of optimize it by having the two towers dance together. They actually create space for each other and for the neighbors, and really sort of even further optimize the solar orientation and the views towards the water. And that's what we really hope that the Coconut Grove project could be like, bringing the Miami condo one step further towards its most highly evolved state.
It was quite easy to identify what was this project going to be all about, because you have the Grove, you have the incredible landscape, and like basically the best landscape architect probably in the country, if not even beyond. We tried also to look at let's say like the Miami vernacular, and like one of the things is like having the pleasure of actually operating in quite a lot of different cities and different cultures and different climates. What we try to do is also instantly acquire some of the empirical intelligence that has already emerged in the local culture. And one of the things that actually work quite well with the Miami condominium is that by having really large balconies, you can actually combine the possibility of having generous views with having a lot of outdoor space and a lot of natural shade, so that you can actually, in a sort of environmentally intelligent way, create something that both maximizes daylight view, sunshine, but also optimizes shade. And then finally, of course, like maybe the greatest resource we have right here in the first row out to the water is, of course, the possibility of capturing amazing views. So we started this basic analysis, is that by necessarily having two buildings, we could easily get in a situation where, because of the neighboring buildings, on the lower floors, the most blatant way of addressing or capturing the view of the water is by looking straight perpendicular to the waterfront. That could easily create a situation of having like the front building and the back building, which of course would detract basically sort of half the people would be in the back building. So what we looked at was by reducing the footprint of the front building to a square, we could open up basically all of the view on the lower floors. And then as we move higher up, the two buildings gently turn to capture the more blatant view straight over the water, also capturing some of the view of downtown Miami. The front building, as they turn, actually also gets a possibility to become slightly wider. So it actually has bigger apartments on the upper floors than on the lower. And that basically gives you this idea that as the two buildings clear the context of the surroundings, they can actually have this more optimum position. And you also see that rather than being front and back, they actually become side by side. So they're both equally privileged. They still dodge each other, so they also have secondary views in the other direction. So basically, and that's essentially what creates the main gesture or sort of expression of the building. That the two buildings are not just sort of condominiums that have been dropped or like pre-designed in the office and then just placed on the side. They are really sort of They really emerged from the specific opportunities and challenges of the site. And this is essentially the situation. We have the 12-foot ceilings. Basically, you can see in the courtyard there's a sample of what a 12-foot sliding glass door looks like. It's incredibly tall. It's essentially the tallest hurricane-proof sliding glass door on the market, and like that alone is a reason to move here. So this is the arrival, the driveway from Bayshore, the incredibly generous lobby that also contains an art gallery and some of the amenities. This is the landscape. You can see these sort of undulating topos. Essentially, when architects or landscape architects make models of landscape, we do these topo lines, and essentially we just try to almost like turn the aesthetics of a landscape model into actual architecture. So these topos also become the steps that you step on. So there's this complete integration between like nature and architecture. And of course, like the one gesture that the architecture makes, which is the turning of the two buildings to become side by side, is made possible by essentially having straight concrete cores, and then these columns that follow the torque of the buildings. That of course, like from a distance, it makes it look like it gets this sort of a gracious, sort of almost like organic expression. But also, as you enter into the buildings, each of these columns, we're gonna leave them in exposed, high-quality architectural concrete. So they're almost going to be like little art pieces in each apartment. We have like an incredibly generous fitness, also with views on all sides out into the landscape. That makes it an incredibly sort of poetic experience to do the exercise. And again, sort of with the paved like the keystone on the ceiling, there's the possibility of integrating lights incredibly seamlessly. Inside the podium landscape is a spa with like fully equipped with all of the amenities. And again, we're trying to work with like an incredibly sort of understated and elegant material palette. In some places, we can actually capture like completely sort of secluded courtyards, where again we can bring the nature even into the spa experience, which would really make it a very desirable place to go. And we have a pet spa where we have sort of decided to work with exactly the same materials that we use for the human spa, because like there's no reason to treat Fido any differently. And then finally, of course, as the last amenity is up on once you clear the canopy and arrive at the roof of the building, you have the sun deck. Again, the final appearance of the concrete core, and this like incredible 360-degree view of the water. Some of the units, some of the upper units have their own little pool, and on both roofs there's a shared pool for the entire building. And of course, at night, again, the idea is that when we sort of excavate or scoop out different programs, in this case the bar, from the core, this like colorful pigmented tile reappears, and that we also envision would be the material inside the pool itself. The apartments, first of all, glass floor to ceiling all the way around, incredibly generous balconies to extend the lifestyle outside, but also to create a natural shade. Of course, you have the view down over the beautiful garden. And this is like basically the situation, the incredibly generous ceiling heights, the abstract column, simple materials. And in general, we've been working a lot with Alicia. Also, I think like 90% of the work in this project has gone into those floor plans because, of course, as the core is straight, whereas the floor plates rotate, and it's only on the upper third of the building that everything sort of clicks into place. So we've been working with Alicia to make sure that we sort of capture the generous glass corners, that all of the functionality makes it like a completely effortless and elegant way of living. It's an example of a sort of kitchen living dining. And again, we sort of imagine the sort of the appearance of, again, working with local woods or these colored tiles to give a little local flavor to an otherwise completely sort of almost Zen-like simple sort of modern architecture. The bathroom that you can also see upstairs, again, like incredibly simple, almost like an abstract sculpture, 2 pieces of furniture, a bathtub, and a sink that creates this little composition together with a nice marble. And then, of course, also at night, for the pleasure of people passing by, you'll see almost like this X-ray of these like sloping columns passing through the different floor plates. So this is essentially the thinking. I mean, just to sort of capture it, I think basically what we tried to do was as little as possible that's necessary to get the maximum amount of these incredible qualities that you already have available with the grove and the weather and the view of the water.